Yo, it's Sev. Just wanted to go over some of the changes from Vinconomy version 2.8 to 3.2. There's been a lot of changes under the hood, and some of the refactoring that I've been doing to try and increase performance I think should be worth noting. Mainly the fact that I have now tried to reduce the block IDs, thank you Thunder, the block IDs as much as possible. Prior to 3.0, I think we had around 2,200 different block IDs for the stalls in order to have the different variants, materials, the orientation, whether they're facing northeast, south, or west. Now we're down to 4. So for each stall we have just north, east, south, and west. We no longer have to store the information whether or not it was a acacia or cypress or anything like that, so that's all being passed in through the attributes now. So that should help out with a lot of the servers that are running hundreds of mods where they've got 100,000 block IDs across different mods for different sort of blocks like brick layers, textures, so on and so forth. So that should help cut down on the overlapping where you start seeing blocks having textures of different blocks that they shouldn't have. Another change that was introduced in I think 2.7 or 2.8 that kind of flew under everybody's radar is I have actually added chisel support for the different stalls. If you open up one of the stalls, you'll see a new slot for decoration block. If you just put a chiseled block in there, it will actually update the model of said stall. That works for just about every type of stall. Obviously the model doesn't match for the two-tiered one, but if you were to chisel it as such, it would. That support is extended for the armor stands, the tool racks, the weapon racks, the shelves. Every sort of stall has support for it. You just might have to adjust your model accordingly to fit it. So obviously having like the acacia log top doesn't fit here, so you'll have to have a wall one or something like that. But yeah, so you can now kind of customize all the different stalls to your liking and try and help them blend a little bit better than the traditional carpet for everything. So if you got like a pedestal or some sort of shelf that's made out of metal, now you can make it out of metal if you want. The other thing that I wanted to cover was the Tenretni books. I think this one kind of blew past everybody just because I didn't really have any documentation on how to use it. In a nutshell, it is basically just an internet-based book. It's hard-coded by default to pull from pastebin.com. So if I actually open up this test, you can see that this is pulling from pastebin.com/2dyam5na. So if I were to actually update this and say I am new if I can spell, I am new information, I press save changes, and I reopen the book, I now get I am new information. The original idea for this is kind of mostly role-playing purposes. So like if you wanted to have like a newspaper or something like that, or some sort of events in-game, you could basically give everybody this book or sell this book and update all this information whenever you needed to. If you had like a new event or a new sale or something like that for your shops, you can advertise it through this book, and you wouldn't have to worry about creating a new book every single time you wanted to update this information. Some other use cases that I could think of is like if you were trying to write and or share information about like where you're mining, where your mines are, or which ones you've cleared out, where any sort of dungeons that you've found or anything like that, and you wanted to share with a group of players. This could kind of help support it. It does support VHTML, so if you wanted to add your own hyperlinks, you wanted to add bold, italicized fonts, change the colors, all of that is supported here. I do have some stop gaps in place to stop rendering if you have a syntax error. But other than that, it's up to you to figure out what the problem is and what you did wrong for VHTML. So to actually set this up, it's pretty straightforward. You start with a new blank Tenretni book. You've got the name, so you can just name it whatever. You can say testing. You've got the archive, which is where it's going to be pulling from. In this case, the only thing that's currently whitelisted is pastebin.com, and you've got the ID. The ID in this case is going to be that 2D AM5NA. I will use this other one that I've got up here just for testing purposes. So if I go back to Vinconomy, I paste that 9D DC XYU. I can press test just to make sure that it works, and you can see that it actually pulls from it. Once that's done, you just press save, and from that point forward, you've got your book, and it's named testing. If you actually hover over the book, you'll also see the information. You can see the data bank address. That's just going to be the paste bin ID, so that 9WDC one that we just added earlier. But yeah, again, if you go and update that paste, the book will update every time you open it. Every single time you take a look at it, it will reach out to pastebin.com and grab the most recent up-to-date information. So yeah, if you want like a bot or something like that to update those automatically through the Pastebin API, you can do that. There's plenty of possibilities. The other thing I wanted to talk about was the ledger. Kind of stalking most of the Discord servers for the different servers that I've seen that has been hosting Vinconomy. A lot of people have been confused about the ledger. It does not work like CanMarket, and I think that seems to be the root cause, as everybody knows the ledger from CanMarket. It does not work the same way. All you have to do is bind it to your register by shift-right clicking onto it, and you're good to go. It does not need to be in the register. You don't have to take it and put it in the register in order for it to record sales. It's always recording sales. The only thing that the ledger allows you to do is read said sales. So you don't need to put it in the register. Just make it, set it, and then you can use it, put it wherever. You don't have to have it in the register. Speaking of the register, I have increased the number of slots. I think it was 25 before, now it's 40. So that should help out with some of the people that were having issues with stuff getting overloaded or selling lots of items or trying to buy items from other players. That should kind of help alleviate some of those problems where you're running out of slots. Additionally, I have changed the UI. I've now broken everything up into tabs. So we've got the inventory tab, we've got a configuration tab, and a waypoint tab. The waypoint is self-explanatory. That's what displays the waypoints for your shop. If you want to update the color, you can, and you can see it updating up there in the top right. The new thing, though, is the configuration tab. So with 3.2, I've included a new item called the catalog, and what that does is it allows you to view every shop on the server. With that, I'm giving you two places to write your own little advertisement or some sort of description if you wanted to let your players know what they're selling. So I've got this is a short description, and I am a long description. So if I pull out the shop catalog, you can see this is a short description. So if you wanted to say, hey, I'm selling just about every item in the game, you can do that. You can update the short description accordingly. If the waypoint is broadcasted, you'll actually get a hyperlink to the block position of where the register is, presumably also where your shop is. The cool thing about that is that I have written a custom handler to allow you to click it, and it will actually bring up the map where that shop is. So, like for this one, it's negative 1291, negative 1653. I didn't have to sit there and zoom out and go all the way to it. I just click on the hyperlink and I'm good to go. So like this one's 2438, it's right where I'm at, opens right to it. The other cool thing about this is I have drastically changed the underlying systems to allow you to actually see what is in the shop. So if I have any items for sale, they will actually show up down here for the available products for sale. Lastly, I have the long description up here. The long description also supports VHTML, so if you wanted to change the font size, color, added hyperlinks to some sort of website or something like that, you're free to do so. But again, do so to your own risk. If you mess up the formatting, it's probably going to error out, and there's not much I can do about it. You got to fix your errors. That pretty much covers it for the new shop catalog. There's really not much to it. Just lots of under the hood changes to allow you to do this. I do have plans on having a proof of concept that that basically allows you to access this sort of information from outside via some sort of like HTTP server or web server. So you don't even have to be in game anymore to get this information. It'll just pull it directly from the Vintage Story server, and you can display it in some sort of website or something like that. The last thing that this update adds, if you were paying attention, is there is a new webhook input field down here. So Vinconomy now has Discord support, basically. So if I were to add a webhook URL down here, anytime somebody purchases something from the shop, it will automatically post a message in Discord. There are two webhooks. So there is a global webhook, which you can configure in the mod config. You can turn it on or off. It is on by default, but the purchase webhook is not filled in. So obviously it's not going to send anything anywhere. The default is also 10 minutes. So every 10 minutes it will basically compile a list of what stores have had sales, and will send out a embed for each and every store that was, had some sort of sale. I've changed it to 1 for testing purposes, just to show you guys how it works, but you can see the webhook URL. I have already bastardized this and tried changing it without making the changes applied, so this is not the right one, so don't try it. It's not going to work. But if I give myself some gears and I go to buy a couple of plates, if we go to Discord within the next minute, you should see that I purchased a bunch of black bronze plates. So we'll wait for that. And there it goes. I had to wait a couple of minutes. So you can see I purchased 36 black bronze plates for 36 rusty gears. So that is the global purchase webhook. So that works for every shop on the server for every purchase. Additionally, I give you guys an option to have your own webhook. So for instance, if the server owner doesn't have a Discord, or if they don't have some sort of global channel that they want this being posted to, you as an individual now have the ability to provide your own webhook. So to set that up, we can just go into our server settings. We can go into integrations down here, go to webhooks, we can create a new webhook. I'll call this one Sev's Store, and we'll post into a private channel. Press Save Changes, copy that webhook URL, go back into the game, paste that in there, hit save. Now if we go and purchase some more items, we should see that come up in our private channel. And there we go. So you can see it says Severed Skulls Shop. Severed Skulls purchased 50 black bronze plates for 50 rusty gears and 40 brass plates for 40 rusty gears. So without having the Discord for your server, you can also have your own in your own Discord server and not have to be a part of your server's Discord channel in order to see those updates. You can add them to yourself. So yeah, that pretty much covers all of the changes for 3.2. If you guys have any sort of feedback, any sort of ideas or things you'd like to see in the mod, feel free to let me know either on the mod Discord channel or the ModDB page on the Vinconomy's official modding site. I'm always looking for feedback. I'm always trying to get what you guys want for Vinconomy, as well as any sort of ideas that you guys might want to have for role playing or economic purposes that you guys think that Vinconomy can fulfill. Other than that, y'all have a good one. Bye.